with all of you this evening to talk about all things anal and pleasure. So, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. All right. And it looks like sound check wise, if you hear me okay, feel free to comment in the chat area and let me know that the volume is good to go. I do have a neighbor with a very loud barking dog. Lucy is her name. Yes, and Lucy is trying to compete with this conversation. So hopefully the noise cancellation, you won't have to hear Lucy in the background. So welcome to our taboo conversation. No pun intended, but pun intended, right? If you are here tonight, that means that you are interested in some way, shape, or form in growing your knowledge and understanding and comfort level with anal pleasure. So I am honored to be here to share in this experience with you. So we're going to start off with me sharing some information about anal pleasure and safety and some things that hopefully will be helpful for you as you figure out your own personal place in your journey of sexual fulfillment and pleasure. And then, of course, I want to spend a majority of our time together engaging in a conversation and giving you all time in this space to ask questions. All right. So let me start by telling you this. This is what's so wonderful. There's something that we all have in common, regardless of our sexual orientation, regardless of who we choose to experience pleasure with, regardless of how we identify as a sexual being, we all have a butt, right? I mean, it sounds silly, but when you think about it, this is like the equalizer for us because this is something that we all share. So I challenge you as you come into this space tonight to leave behind any limiting beliefs or thoughts that you may have held about anal pleasure. For example, who it was intended for, whatever you think about that, leave that outside of this space. Any negative connotations that you have about pain associated with it, or the dirtiness, right, of the anus, leave all of that at the door. Because I really want you to come in here with an open mind and relearning the correct way how to embark on this journey, again, of knowledge or future experience, or maybe you are already in a place where you are enjoying anal pleasure and you're here to expound on that. And I welcome you, particularly because of your experience. And I'm excited because I'm going to be able to share with you some actual tools and some things that I like that I hope you will as well, that I can share. All right, so is everybody with me? If you have left behind all of those things that you need to shed and you feel comfortable in this space, because of course your name does show up in the chat area, please comment in the chat section, I left it behind. If you're comfortable, please do that. I absolutely would love that. And again, I want to make this as an engaging experience as possible as we utilize this Zoom platform this evening. Okay, so let me take a look and see if I have some folks. Oh, yay, you've left it. Thank you. You're leaving it back. Okay, keep them coming through. This is symbolic of what I want you to have a clean slate. Of course, the information that you have from your personal experience that is working well, hold on to that as well, right? Because you may hear someone ask a question and feel comfortable sharing in the chat area something positive from your experience with anal pleasure. And I want to make sure that I create a space for you to do that. All right, they're coming through. We're leaving it behind. We're leaving it behind. Okay, so for the sake of definition, I want to be clear about anal play. When we use this term anal play, we are inclusive, right? We mean any type of stimulation to the anus, whether that's with a finger, a toy, a tongue, a strap on, a penis, anything. That is how we're defining anal play. And what I love about the word play is that it moves your mindset to fun, right? When some people hear the term anal sex or anal pleasure, particularly those with a vagina, there is some fear associated with that. It's going to hurt. It's going to bleed. Am I going to be safe? Right? These are things that you may have personally said to yourself or heard. For others who have a penis and are interested in being a giver of pleasure with their penis, right? There are certain things that you have said to yourself in your mind about the other person's experience. So we're clear on vocabulary. Anal play is meant to be fun and pleasurable. Some people ask, what's the benefit? Why should I engage in any type of anal play? What's in it for me? And is it what I think it is based on what I've seen either in porn, how it's implied in movies, maybe how you've read about it in erotic fiction, things that you've heard from your peer group, right, about it. And so you're wondering, okay, what's in it for me? Let me tell you what's in it for you. Mind-blowing pleasure is what's in it for you. Your anus has lots and lots and lots of nerve endings. Right in the entrance, a few inches in, as well as the outside. Lots of nerve endings. There's actually more inside than outside. The outside takes on the form of protector, providing you with protection. The inside, the membranes are a lot thinner, so that is giving you an opportunity to experience pleasure, okay? So again, we left behind negative thinking about anal pleasure so that you can open up your mind to what's possible. So for those of you who are listening to my voice and you have a penis, you're very fortunate because your prostate gland, which is about the size of a walnut, if you can picture a walnut in your mind, that's about the size and the shape of your prostate gland. That gets stimulated during anal penetration. Again, with a finger, with a toy, penis, whatever you choose. It has the potential to provide you with an orgasm that feels very different from what you experience from stimulation of your penis. It's pretty mind-blowing. And when I say mind-blowing, I mean head to toe pleasure. So you can experience pleasure that ripples through your body as a result of that gland getting penetrated from stimulation. Who doesn't want that? I mean, I'm just saying, y'all can tell I'm excited about this topic. I am, because it's an erogenous zone that is often ignored in some circles, right? Because of some of the stigmas that it carries. So the first thing I want you to understand is why anal play? Because it's pleasurable. If you have a penis, you're very fortunate because you have a prostate gland. But don't worry, if you have a vagina, you're very fortunate as well, because you have the unique opportunity of being stimulated through the penis, through the anus. It's going to be very close to your vaginal wall, and it can actually hit the internal clitoral cluster. So we're talking about stimulation to your G-spot through your anus. Are you following me? That equals pleasure. Okay, so I set the stage, right? We're good on that. We understand that it can be extremely pleasurable. But now the question is, how do I even prepare for this, right? Like, let's get to some of the basics. One of the most common questions that I get as a sex therapist is, I need to clean my butt. That's where poop comes out. How do I do that? How do I do it safely? Should I do that? If this is a question that you have thought, I'm going to ask you to be brave again in the comment section and let me know if this is a question that you have. And the reason I'm encouraging you all to be active in the chat area is we are getting away from being afraid to talk about pleasure, including anal pleasure. So you are contributing to the collective here, right? So if you're like, gosh, Kaycee keeps asking us to, yes, I am. Because I want you to get comfortable. You're not showing your face, but your name is there. I want you to get comfortable with owning your pleasure, advocating for the questions that you have, and recognizing that you have a right to experience whatever pleasurable experiences you desire to have. All right. So a lot of people have said, okay, yes, how do I clean it? What do I do? All right. So this is one of the things I absolutely love, and I'm going to show you. Show and tell. Show and tell. Okay. Future Method. Look at this. Look at this beautiful pouch. By the way, can I just add, I know that we're in a pandemic and I know that a lot of us aren't traveling, but this is TSA approved. I'm just saying. So if you decide to travel and perhaps there's going to be some booty fun happening at your destination, you can take this wonderful cleaning solution with you with your douche. Now, why am I bringing up this particular one? There's a couple of reasons. If we know that the membranes are very thin in the anus, just because poop comes out doesn't mean we can put anything inside to clean it. Most people, when I say most, studies tell us about 90% of folks use water. So you might be thinking, yeah, okay, water, I wash with water, soap, that should clean my anus. That should be a great way to do this. Okay. No, not necessarily, because water is what's called hypotonic. Water can get absorbed by the cells in your anus. And you know what it means if it gets absorbed? It can expand. We don't want any disruption of the cells, zero. And then you might think, okay, let's go to the other side. Let's do an enema. Often a salty solution, hypertonic. It is taking out the electrolytes in your cells, which causes a different level of damage. Thanks to Future Method. I feel like a commercial, but like this is for real. Like I'm absolutely in love with this product. And let me tell you why, because it is only cleansing the cells. There's no disruption. And the reason that it was designed that way, and this is what makes me honestly feel more comfortable about using this, is because a doctor scientifically created this for you and I to have a safe cleansing solution to be prepared if you feel you need it. Again, let me be clear. You do not have to use a douche of any kind. You don't. But if anxiety about cleanliness is blocking your pleasure, guess what you should do? Then you should use something that's safe for you. So the moment I learned that this product was made by a doctor who does surgery on anuses, I don't know how else to say this, right? Like, then why wouldn't I use this? And it feels amazing. Okay, we won't talk about how good it feels. I don't want to get into a whole conversation about my personal experience, but what I will say is it feels very luxurious and you feel clean. Again, your ability to experience pleasure is often blocked because of this, your thoughts. So if your cleanliness and if that feeling is blocking you, you do want to use something, right? Because we want to eliminate any barriers to pleasure. And can I just throw in, yeah, he made a scrub. I'm all about scrubs, like sugar scrubs and yeah. Okay, so this is a butt scrub that will gently exfoliate. Wonderful for the skin of the butt, also for the anus entrance. Okay, I just had to share that. So the question is, you can be prepared by making sure the area is clean, whether you decide to douche or not, right? Whether you decide to cleanse, you want to make sure soap and water is used because we know that there's bacteria that lives there. But there's also bacteria that lives in the vagina. And we know that a pH can get thrown off in a vagina, pH can get thrown off in our anus. Okay, so you want to be so mindful of what you're using. So as you think about preparing your body, part of preparing your body is preparing your mind. Okay, feeling clean, feeling good in your body is going to help you with that experience for sure. The other thing you want to do to prepare, I highly suggest having a towel handy because things are going to get a little bit messy because you need lube and you need lots of it. And I'm sure you know why. Because your anus does not have that wonderful feature that vaginas have, which is to self lubricate. It just doesn't have that. So you need to use some lube to help with the process of anything that is entering, right? Except for the tongue, of course. The tongue already has some natural juices of its own. But if you are incorporating a finger, a toy, okay, can I highlight this for a moment? So it's important as you choose your toys that you want to use. Again, this is all part of your prep. You have to have all this stuff ahead of time. You want something that is designed to go into the anus. There's lots of toys, like loads, thousands. All of them aren't meant for your butt. Things can get lost in there. So you need to make sure you have something that's designed to come out. That's why I love this. Okay, I'm going to put this really close because I want you all to see how wide this is. This is wonderful. Again, if you are playing with toys and you're afraid of something getting stuck, based on what I just shared, we know that the mind is going to block the pleasure because now your body's responding to anxiety or worry. We don't want that. So you want something that you know will be able to come out. This can come out, right? So it's wonderfully shaped, as you can see. Super soft. And with lube, you can comfortably insert this yourself during self-pleasure or with a partner. Lots of options here. But what I love is that you can pull it out. Okay, and I need to tell you this also just because I was going to save this kind of towards the end, but I have to bring this up because I'm a pleasure pusher. Like that is my agenda. And I want you to understand the different ways you can experience pleasure. Okay, so for all my wonderful folks with a penis, if you are experiencing a heightened sensation of pleasure right when you're getting ready to orgasm, and this butt plug is inside of you, and it is pulled out right at the moment that you're experiencing orgasm. Amazing. Double the pleasure. The sensation is, I can't even tell you. Okay, I see some questions coming in, and so I have to stop for a moment. What exactly is douching? Great question. It is cleansing. So let me tell you what you do. This solution, see it, goes into this bulb. Push the bulb, insert the fluid into the anal canal, and it's going to cleanse and run out. You have now cleansed. You have now douched. All right, great question. With anal play, is the pleasure coming from it just staying in there without moving it? Wonderful question. Pleasure can happen from it being inside of you. Let me tell you this. All bodies are different. Let's be clear about that. However, a lot of people with a vagina will experience having a plug inside of them, it can widen the vaginal canal, which, while that's also being stimulated, perhaps if you so choose, during anal play, this is inside of you, i.e., anal play, you can experience a heightened feeling of pleasure. Heightened feeling. Yes. You can choose an anal toy that vibrates, that can provide a different sensation because the nerve endings in the anus are just getting stimulated a different way. So it can move, doesn't have to move. You find what you enjoy, but the pleasure can happen either way. It depends on your body. Just like any other erogenous zone, it's unique to you. So experiment and see what you enjoy. Why does even inserting a finger pain so much? Okay, so here is the thing about that. I highly recommend lots and lots of arousal prior to any type of anal play, particularly with penetration. So you want your body to be at the most relaxed state possible as you are receiving anything that's going inside. A lot of times, and with a lot of my clients that I work with, they have wonderful experiences if they have experienced an orgasm from another form of stimulation prior to incorporating anal play and penetration, because their body is so relaxed, they feel wonderful, they're not tense, they already experienced an orgasm, they're in a really good place, they want to keep the party going with lots of lube. The penetration may not be painful at all. It's not designed to be painful. So if you experience pain, stop. Make sure you have a safe word that you and your lover or lovers have agreed on. Everybody knows. Make sure it's a word that is not something you would say in that setting. Okay? Like pineapple. That's a good one. It's not something you'd normally say during sex. So that way the person knows and they can take it out. Some people enjoy using dilators. Those are graduated widths and lengths that you can utilize to get the anus comfortable with insertion. And they can start really, really small, like smaller than this. Sorry, I don't have any dilators with me today. And you can gradually work your way up to a larger size. Now, listen, if you are completely not nude, hope you're not nude, that's okay. Just don't turn your camera on. If you are new to anal play, start slow, right? Start with a conversation with your lover. Let them know it's something that you're interested in. Find out their comfort level. Find out their experience. Have they had experience before? Not a time to get jealous. This is a time to be informed. Have they experienced it before? What did they enjoy? Perhaps on the receiving end or the giving end. So you can have that conversation. Start slow. Experience what we all fondly know as tossing a salad, which essentially is oral anal play. So licking, nothing is inserted. So you can start to get comfortable, right? So as you're thinking about embarking on this, if you're new, you may be wondering, what are the best positions to be in? Like, how should my body be in order to comfortably receive? Lying on your stomach is a wonderful way. Being up on all fours is a wonderful way. Again, you experiment with your body to see what you like. If you're completely new to it, incorporate it into your self-pleasure first. You may want to experiment with this when you have control. You're inserting it slowly. You're using the lube, okay? Before you involve a partner. All right, so let's just dive into these questions. A lot of these things I want to make sure we cover tonight together. Okay, so if so far you have at least learned one thing, please let me know in the chat area. Let me know that you have, that you're still with me. Okay. What are the risks of doing oral sex if the anus is not perfectly clean? Hepatitis, for example. Yes. Okay. This is a wonderful question because there are real risks. There is bacteria. There is E. coli potentially. There are sexually transmitted diseases that you can contract. Hepatitis A, for example, HIV, right? Being mindful of that. If you are getting ready to perform oral pleasure on an anus, please don't have brushed your teeth recently, like within the previous hour or so. Because believe it or not, you can create very small cuts inside of your mouth. You want to make sure that the anus, of course, again, remember I told you the membranes are very thin on the inside. It's very easy for there to be tears, not tears that necessarily result in any bleeding, like super, super tiny. So to answer your question, yes, there are definitely risks. So you want to make sure that the area is clean, properly cleaned. Okay. What's your opinion on using poppers for making penetration easier? So my opinion is the most important thing that you want to make sure you do is that you are relaxed and comfortable. How you choose to do that, whatever fits with who you are as an individual, what you value, what's important, you make that decision for yourself, right? Like, I want to be clear about that. But recognize that the body needs to be relaxed and your mind needs to be clear in the process so that you can experience the most pleasure as possible. And this means no numbing agents. I repeat, no numbing agents. These are often popular because the mindset is it's not going to hurt as bad if I numb the area. But guess what? You're not going to experience the pleasure because you can't feel anything. And that makes it extremely dangerous. Our body needs to signal if something is wrong. Pain often tells us that. If you numb the area, you won't know what's happening. It can cause a lot of damage. So, no to numbing agents. Are you with me? Okay. Are there any side effects from anal sex as you get older? This is a wonderful question. Yes, let's talk about that. So, risks and side effects, think about it as it relates to hygiene. So, the major risks are always related to hygiene, first and foremost, okay? Making sure that there's no double dipping going on. So let's be clear about that. Any toy, any finger, any penis, anything that goes inside of the anus, once it comes out, don't put it inside of anything else. Not a vagina, not a mouth. So if that means for you that you have specific toys just for the anus, and right near it, you have another toy for another entry, keep them separate. Or maybe you like the same toy, want to use that, you're going to need to clean it before it enters anything because it doesn't take but just a little bit of bacteria to get into the urinary tract, which can cause a UTI. It can get into the vagina, which can cause vaginitis, all kinds of stuff, right? So you want to make sure you're clear about that. Your nails, it's so easy to get a little bit of bacteria, potentially fecal matter, under your nails if you're using your finger. So it might not seem sexy to use a glove, but if you use a black one, like the ones that tattoo artists use, I mean, it can be sexy. It's really about presentation, the mood, and everything else that's going on. But if you have long nails, you don't want to insert a long nail. If you plan on using your fingers without any covering, then please consider cutting your nails. And when you wash your hands afterwards, I highly suggest a nail brush. You want to make sure it's very clean. Or you can use a glove Be careful. Some people have a latex allergy. So if you use a latex glove, please talk to your lover about that so you're clear on what type of material to use. Lots of sex toys have a lot of gloves and lots of options for you, okay? There are dental dams as well. Perhaps you're saying, I'm new to this. I kind of want to play around with it. I need a barrier between my mouth and the anus. Dental dam is a wonderful option. But remember, don't use it in another area. No double dipping. Okay. I'm looking in the comments. I've tried finger insertion and it doesn't feel bad, but it doesn't feel amazing. Is it not going in deep enough? Because it seems like when I do the same for my partner, they get the good sensation. Okay, I love this. I love this question. All right. One of the things you want to think about is what other areas of your body are being stimulated. And this is any type of sexual pleasure that you're experiencing. We should double up, right? You don't necessarily have to rely on one thing. So if you are also having, let's say you have a vagina and you have a clitoris and you have clitoral stimulation happening at the same time, not same device, of course, as anal stimulation, you may experience a heightened sense of pleasure because both of them are being stimulated at the same time. Now, there is, again, your bodies are made differently. So think about how far in you may need to go for the stimulation. You might want to play around with how far you go in. Check your mindset. Make sure your mind is in a place where you're open to receiving the pleasure. Because if you're not in the present moment, it doesn't matter how amazing the stimulation is, it's going to be difficult to experience the pleasure. My partner uses mouthwash before brushing. My partner uses mouthwash before brushing, after rimming. Okay, so if I'm reading that right, that means your partner rims. For those of you listening, that term is synonymous with salad tossing and licking, analingus. That's hard to say. So their partner is using mouthwash, which can actually create a nice little tingly sensation. And it would be helpful to do that after to clean your mouth. Yes, I love it. How should the bottom prepare for rimming? Shaving down there causes a rash. Is hair okay? Oh, I'm so glad you asked this question. Yes, hair is perfectly okay. It's a preference. Keep in mind, it's easier for fecal matter to get trapped in hair, but that can be eliminated with a scrub, like Future Method makes, soap and water. It's all about what you prefer. Don't treat this any different than your overall pleasurable experiences that you have. It's like people put anal pleasure on this, like, right? This separate shelf of taboo, untouched, I don't really know what to do. Yeah, approach it the way that you do your other pleasurable experiences. How do you keep from bleeding? Next question. The anus just doesn't expand like the vagina. It definitely does not. Babies' heads can come out of vaginas. The anus is not designed for that. It's like only the head can get in there without bleeding. Okay, so if you're bleeding, you definitely want to stop, right? You don't want to experience pain. You don't want to potentially cause hemorrhoids, aggravate hemorrhoids. Of course, if you have hemorrhoids, let's get that cleared up before you engage in any anal pleasure. So if bleeding is happening, assess the amount of lube, the size of what you're putting inside. Start with something smaller first. Get the muscle used to, accustomed to a varying size. Start small. Don't start with the penis size if you've never had anything inside. Listen, anal pleasure is not one of those things that you just kind of surprise on your partner during sex or penetrative sex. Absolutely not. you have to be prepared for this, right? You have to have a conversation. You have to know each other's comfort levels, right? You want to be open, but you need to be prepared for sure. So it's not okay to kiss your partner after oral anal play because of hygiene. It is risky. Great question. It's risky. The reason is there may have been a trace, and that's all it takes. There may be a trace of fecal matter that got into their mouth, and now they have transferred it to yours. Be mindful of that. Yeah, that can be a challenge. Why does it burn during initial penetration? So again, the area on the inside is thin. I mean, thin, right? And depending on the size of what's going inside, that can hurt. There can be friction that can cause that burning sensation. Friction may be an indicator that it is not lubricated enough. I mean, I'm talking like you gotta go overboard with the lubrication. That's why I say you need a towel. You need a towel. There's a lot of fluids, there's a lot of stuff happening. That could be the reason. The other reason that could cause the burning sensation is the type of lube that you use. Your body may be sensitive to that. So I suggest using a water-based lube. Some people don't like it because it's not very thick. They want something that has silicone in it. They want it to be a bit slicker. That's fine. Keep in mind that silicone can break down latex. So if you're using a condom, you don't want to use silicone lubricant. Water-based is a great option, especially if you're practicing safe sex. If you have not been tested, if your partner has not been tested, safe sex is the most important thing, right? So if a condom is being used, please use a water-based lube, but the burning sensation may be due to the lube, how your body's responding. There may be friction that's happening. So one of the things that you can do to kind of stay booty healthy is drinking a lot of water and eating foods with fiber, right? Because then everything is just coming out. So all of my fur mommies, daddies, etc. out there who have a dog, do you ever notice when they go to the bathroom, it's like, comes out, done. It's not like a trace, my dogs. There's nothing there. It's just smooth. It comes out, done. And they have all this hair. They have a pretty high fiber diet and they drink a lot of water. Same for you. Very important. Okay, I can't see, so I have to keep putting my glasses on. Great question. After anal play with the penis, is wiping off with a wipe enough to start vaginal penetration, or does it need to be completely washed? I'm so glad you asked this because I know other people wanted to know this. Okay, you can use a wipe, but let me be clear. A baby wipe, not the best option because it can burn. There's other chemicals and things inside of baby wipes that with any tears, it's not comfortable. So you can use a hyperallergenic flushable wipe. I also suggest having a washcloth that is dampened with a little bit of soap, a little bit on one side and wet on the other side. You can use that. Again, it's almost like you have to have kind of a little toolkit ready next to the bed, on the bed, wherever you are, to be helpful. But yes, you don't have to go to the bathroom and like wash and break the mood. But if you don't have those things handy, if you don't have a washcloth, if you don't have something, then you will need to get up. Yes. Be mindful. I think they were asking about Nair removal lotions. Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, so yes, some people use Nair. The best option actually is laser removal because Nair and waxing, again, those things can be very sensitive and break down the tissue. So you want to be careful with Nair. It's a chemical. Yeah. Liquid Sassy is awesome for anal sex, water-based. Thank you for including that. It is wonderful. I thought silicone lube was okay to use with, oh, wait. Uber Lube is a great silicone-based option. Okay, I thought silicone lube was okay to use with condoms. Oil-based can break them down, correct? Silicone can as well. Yeah, I highly suggest water-based with a condom. If a person is penetrating, how can that person work with their partner to find the right angle of entry? How can someone being penetrated support with this? Are there right angles? Oh, I love this. I love this question. Okay. One of the things to think about is who you're giving control over to during play. One of the things that you can do to support the receiver is to give them control, especially if this is new for them. So being in a position on all fours, allowing them to back up onto the penis or strap on perhaps, gives them more control and they can manage the angle. You may want to support the receiver with pillows that can be placed kind of in their torso area as they're laying down, up on their legs, right? To see if that angle is more comfortable. Lying flat on the stomach is highly suggested, particularly when it's new, to see how that angle feels. There's going to be some trial and error. Okay. Will the plug stay in while you're having missionary? It sure will. Yes, it's wonderful. It will stay in. And it will easily come out. Yeah, it's gonna fit like a glove. I don't know what to tell you. It's amazing. Give us other tips to maximize our partner's pleasure when penetrating. Okay, so let me tell you this. One of the ways, before I tell you that, let me just mention making sure that the receiver is relaxed. You can gently massage the back, like right over the butt. Kind of that area where people used to call getting a tramp stamp tattoo. You know that area? Okay. Massaging that area can help relax the pelvis and the PC muscles. 10, 15 minutes, make it part of your erotic massage as the two of you, 3 or 4 of you, are enjoying each other prior to any type of anal penetration. Just a great tip to help someone relax. And it will connect, provides bonding and all that great stuff. Okay, so maximizing pleasure during penetration is, okay, stimulating other erogenous zones at the same time is a wonderful way to increase the pleasure, whatever that feels like. So using texture, nails on the back, rubbing the butt, right? Stimulating other areas. If they have a penis, stimulating the penis at the same time. If they have a clitoris, stimulating the clitoris at the same time. Dirty talk, role play, lots of different things that you can do to play around with that to increase the pleasurable experience. And making sure you're talking to them about what they're experiencing, right? Because that's going to determine how far you go in, what angle, your stroke. Is it fast? Is it slow? Are you alternating, right? Like being clear about that. Depending on your position, if you are behind them and they're up on all fours, if you can, depending on both of your heights, you can also lick and kiss on their back. So it just depends on how you're arranged. If you're doing this laying on your side, which is another great option for penetration of the anus, very hands-free, right? Like use your hands to simulate other erogenous zones. Okay, people use moisturizers as lubes. Is that right? Good question. You want to make sure you're using a lube that's safe to put inside of your anus. So I don't want to give a blanket response because it really depends on what the moisturizer is, right? If it is designed for anal play, if it is perhaps vegan, organic, or has other qualities about it that makes it safe, it's all about what's safe, right? So if you're not sure, check the ingredients, understand what the purpose of the gel, moisturizer, or lube is for. What is it for? That way you use the best thing. How do you encourage breaking your partner's mindset and stigma on being penetrated if he's always believed it wasn't meant for him? Okay, I know a lot of people can relate to this question. So it's not about breaking down their mindset, but it's about encouraging a supportive conversation about pleasure. I would suggest providing education for them about anal pleasure, right? Like give them some websites, some places that they can look. Future Method on their website, they have some excellent blogs that kind of break down some basic Q&A, some myths, right? Give them some resources to take a look at, because the more educated they are about it, education is going to decrease stigma, is going to promote openness, at least consideration. Then you can have a conversation with them about their fears, right? What their concerns are. But it can take time, so be patient. Definitely be patient. Great. Is everyone still with me? Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to look at all your questions. Is coconut oil okay? It's organic. Some people enjoy coconut oil. Yes, I think that it's a better option for vaginal penetration. I'm concerned about how the membranes inside of your anus are going to absorb that oil. Again, everyone's body is different. I would suggest sticking with a water-based lube. Okay, so it looks like there were some questions about trauma. Okay, so let me see if I can go back. Sorry, folks, because these questions are like pouring in and I missed one. Could you elaborate on mine? Okay, I'll get back to that. Why don't I see the question about trauma?
I just put it back in the bottom of the chat.
You're wonderful. Okay, let me take a look. Do you have any tips about overcoming? Okay, thank you. Do you have any tips about overcoming past sexual trauma, non-consensual penetration, especially in the context of uncontrollable responses to penetration? Yeah, this is great. Yeah, so, I mean, honestly, tips are really going to be about the individual healing process. I highly recommend for anyone who's experienced trauma, any type of sexual trauma, to seek out a therapist, particularly a sex therapist, someone that you can process, someone who does EMDR, which is a great modality for managing and healing through trauma. That is really the first place to go before you consider putting yourself in a position that could be very triggering. Yeah, EMDR is excellent. Yes, it's amazing, clinically proven to assist with all different types of trauma. How long after eating should I wait before anal? Or, okay, I think you have a second part to that. Okay, again, it's going to be about your comfort level, because if you feel bloated, like I do sometimes, certain times of the month after I eat, I may not be very comfortable laying on my stomach and being in a position to receive any type of anal pleasure, or depending on how your body processes food. So if you eat a lot of animal products, meats, things like that, your body may process that differently. You want to give yourself a chance to digest your food and be comfortable. That is really going to be an individual, right, decision. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to how soon, but if you just had a bowel movement, you may not be comfortable with experiencing any anal pleasure, receiving any anal pleasure. You may want to wait a couple of hours. There's others who say, I'm fine, I'm comfortable. They cleanse, they engage. Personal choice, for sure. My partner and I can't seem to get further than the head inserted without me tensing back up. Yes, we use a lot of lube, tried laying on my stomach, back on it, anal plugs, foreplay, tips on how to remain relaxed to get the entire penis in. Okay, so here's my answer. Don't focus on the achievement of getting the whole penis in. Focus on experiencing pleasure. That is going to keep you relaxed. That is going to allow you to enjoy the journey of the experience. Remember, go slow. So if you also need to use some dilators when you're not with your partner so that your body can get comfortable with the size, definitely do that. But I don't want you to focus your goal on getting more penis in. Change your mindset to experiencing more pleasure. That's going to decrease some of that anxiety, right? Check in with yourself. Some days just aren't good days to experience anal pleasure, penetration with a penis, particularly, right? You need to read your body. If you are holding a lot of tension and stress that day, and you really want to experience pleasure in a way that you know your body will receive it and be relaxed, that may not be the day. So read your body and consider that. I heard about trauma conscious yoga therapy too. Yes, it is wonderful, and somatic practitioners. Yes, definitely make a note of that. And you can Google in your area to find practitioners. Okay. Just a reminder, laying on your stomach position, please elaborate. Yes, okay, let me elaborate. So if you are laying flat on your stomach, completely flat, prostate, totally out. Your legs aren't up, your knees aren't up. You are completely flat like you are laying on a massage table. That is the position I mean when I say laying on your stomach, completely flat. You can also spread your butt cheeks, which can be erotic if you're comfortable with that as you are receiving. Hopefully, let me know if you want me to clarify. All right, so aftercare when anal pleasure is done. Yes. Okay, thanks, Anna. Got it. Okay, so aftercare. Okay, so you've experienced all this pleasure. You're good. You're laying there on this towel. There's fluid everywhere. You don't have to jump up in that moment, right? I say within 30 minutes, wash hands if you were giving, okay? Wash nails if you were using your fingers without any type of covering. Wash any body parts that were involved in the anal play. Remove the towel. Some people like to change the sheets. Not required, but definitely get the towel out of there, okay? If you were the receiver, a nice warm water soap wash. Front to back, if you have a vagina, make sure you're being mindful of that. Simple. Some people also like to douche after. That's perfectly fine too. But let me preface that with this. If you are going to douche after, remember when you go, right, like this, it's kind of pushing things up and then pulling them out. So please don't use an enema afterwards because you can be pushing bacteria in, pushing lube inside, and it's not being properly cleansed. That is why I love Future Method, because it is cleaning cells and it's not a solution that your body is taking out anything you need or putting in anything you don't need. Okay. This Future Method shipped to India? Good question. I'm going to defer to Mia. She may know. Is it safe to come in the butt? Yes, it is safe. Again, consider this just like you would any other level of penetration and coming inside of anyone's bodily orifice. You are being exposed to bodily fluids. If your partner has not been tested, if you have not been tested, there's always a risk. You're taking a risk. Keep that in mind. I don't know if it ships, but she'll let us know if Mia is aware of that. How do I locate and stimulate my partner's prostate with my finger? Okay, yes, good question. Okay, so your anus has about, give or take, 12 centimeters of length, roughly 5 inches. That prostate is gonna be about, indirectly hitting it, about halfway through. So we're looking at 2.5 inches. That makes sense. Yes. So don't think the further I go, the more likely I'll hit the prostate. Not necessarily. It's pretty shallow. You're going to know by your partner's response. You're not necessarily going to recognize how it feels. So this is where communication with your partner is vital. That's a good question. All right, let me do a time check. We're already at 8 o'clock. You're welcome. Okay, I have to answer this. We always talk about relaxing during anal, but can I tighten my ass during sex to make it more pleasurable for my partner? Absolutely, positively, you can. Yes, you absolutely can. Again, you personalize your pleasure and your experience. Talk to your partner and see if they enjoyed that. Very important. Yes. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Can we do one of these for female ejaculation and squirting? All right, Taboo, you have been challenged. I'm not sure, Mia, if you have done one on female ejaculation and squirting before, but that is a wonderful topic and with lots of questions and areas to grow. You need to do more classes. Penis sucking, that's another great one. Deep throating, for sure, for sure. So I do want to highlight these products that Future makes, butt scrub and Tango. I might not have said Tango. I get really excited when I hold on to this. When I hold this, I get excited. Okay, I'm just being transparent. Okay, in my excitement, I do not think I gave credit to the amazing company that created this. It is called Tango. 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 Okay, so Tango and Future Method are offering all of you 20% off through Valentine's Day. So if you are interested, feel free. You definitely need these in your this. Listen, I can't. All right, I'm not gonna. Okay. Deep breaths before deep throat. So true. So very true. I have a video about deep throating on my Instagram page. So feel free. If you want to stay connected, I would love to, and send me a DM and tell me that you were part of this conversation, and I will put in the chat box my Instagram handle. I want to say a special thank you to Mia for inviting me to host this bootylicious conversation, and Future Method. Thank you so much for creating something safe right? Like that I don't have to worry about. And Tango, special thank you, because this handle, like, it's serious. I told you all the tip, right? So if you joined a little late and you didn't get to hear, when this is inside of you, regardless if you're receiving or giving, and you are getting ready to experience an orgasm or a peak pleasurable moment, quickly pull this out in that moment. Double the pleasure. Double the pleasure. Okay, so Mia is going to add for us the link and information website. You can actually go right on Future Method's website and Tango's website. But she will put in the 20% off code. All right. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being courageous to be in a space where we're talking about something taboo. So together, let's take the stigma out of sexual pleasure. And you can do that in your own individual way, in your own communities and circles, by openly talking about pleasure. So it was my pleasure to be here with all of you tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was amazing. Thank you.